Hello. Uh, Hello. Can you hear me? My name is Sridip Rayamaji. I'm from Nepal. My initiative name is Learn IG, Internet Governance. So with Learn Internet Governance, what we do is we develop toolkits. We develop toolkits for, ICANN. We have developed newcomers toolkit for ICANN. We have developed newcomers toolkit for APR IGF, as well as, other fact checking things, stuff like that. So I strongly believe that, the whole youth engagement part is it's very dynamic as well as very difficult. And this topic is I'm very passionate about youth leadership. Why? Because when I started in 2007, I used to stand up and I used to be looked at as if I was nobody. So from then and there, I realized that we need to work on our skills. We need to work on making people, especially from Asia. We have to work on their level of skills. So then and there, I started engaging with Diplo, then internet governance, internet ISOC, and then I was involved with NRI and then all these organizations. And what these days what I've realized is, with youth engagement, where are we going? I mean to say, youth is such in a vulnerable state right now that we have to focus our energy in values. That is very important. If youth are given the right values, they can stand right, they can do things right, they will be leaders, right? And that's what we believe in and we support in. And even in Nepal, we have been, we do reach out to colleges and schools, and it is so that, I'll share you my experience that, I went to a college, there were like 70 students, and I did a fishball session, and till the break there were like 30 left, and it was a 1 hour session, and within the half an hour 30 were like gone, 30 were left. And out of the 30 till the time we ended, we had around 10 or 15 people, and out of those 70 youth, one girl wrote a blog about it. So that is the level of engagement we get. That is a reality, and we have to accept that. And it is more like we have to further work on the value system, transparency, accountability, and these are more issues that we have to focus on, so that when they come out as leaders, they will be standing with a standard form of collaborating with the communities. Because a lot of the times what I've seen is I've seen IGFs that are being run just for the sake of it, right? So I strongly believe that youth values and youth engagement and youth initiative have to be more focused towards the whole engagement part, more focused, because this today's world is the world of opportunity, right? Have a look. You have mobile phone, you have internet. Just go on, share your information, click it, put it on the web. Done, man. It is so easy. I mean to say, was it possible back then? Right? You have the knowledge. Go on, talk with the students, talk with your friends. That is what real engagement is. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take you to be different. It just takes you to be passionate. And that passion comes from the values. Those are the values that we have to infiltrate. Those are the values where we have to work on. And that is like, to some extent, even us, we focus on that. I have a booth there in IGF village, and I met a lot of the African people, and a lot of the leaders came in, and we talked. And I felt that, I felt very passionate with people, that they share their stories, they want to be themselves. And at the time, It's just they are just this far away. The ice has to be broken. You just have to click. And like today I encountered, like, a lot of the people came in our booth, and like a lot of people got motivated, and even I got motivated when there were students that they shared that, like, we are trying to do this, where we are like trying to run this, we are trying to collaborate. And it's so interesting, and I think this is the platform where we have to collaborate. It's not about Asia, it's not about Africa, but how we are going to bring in, learning from all these leaders, learning from our skills. It is very important that we collaborate. That's the key. And thank you.
Um, So, no, just some quick remarks about the last intervention. I wasn't talking. I didn't mean that young people are lazy, or there is widespread widespread problem. The fact that most of them are. They are doing this for volunteering, as a volunteering staff activities, and none of them um, tend to engage and commit their time on that. I'd like just to say that we are all here, and we are here with a great motivation to do what we do. I'm the chair of the Youth Standing Group. I'm the first woman to be chairing the Youth Standing Group. And it's a job. This is a job. I mean, I spend at least 6 hours a day doing doing things for my organization, even if this is a volunteering activity. What I like to say is that the youth standing groups is open to collaboration. As I said before, the youth standing group is the group of of young people of the Internet Society. The Internet Society is a non-profit organization based in America, in the United States and Geneva. We have funding to carry out some activities, and we are open to partnership with the other youth organization and non-youth organization in internet governance. So I'm not there to leave you my contacts, but Joao is the vice president, and you can reach out to him, and we can start a discussion and collaboration and partnership. I'm very open to that.
Thank you for your feedback, Mr. from Nepal, right? Yeah. So you said everything is okay. I mean, it fits for all of us. So, and also as an Ethiopian and I mean, as an Ethiopian and an African, also the global citizen, I face those things as well. So I know there are users who are in different continents who are facing the same things, even if that are in third world. So there might be someone in Poland and someone in Eastern Europe, they face the same thing. So I would like to just a recommendation. What I to say is I was in a volunteering for the last 10 years, and where I started when I was in high school, a beginner. So it was challenging. Like when you have a volunteer, so you should have you paying to the transportation to go somewhere else for the cancer societies, or you maybe people who are having daily foods, whatever, so preparing things. So you maybe have a depth to read something. So it's a lot of things, but being passionate, it doesn't make you who you are. I mean, it doesn't mean that you are good. So when you have anything like as a passion without commitment is not a being. I mean, is not a good thing. So I was committed for, that I challenged it, even if that I paid for my universities and a lot of things that I be done and volunteering, and I did not waste on my time of one of the third of my age of in life. So I wasted in different activities. So that makes me passionate to be now. So I didn't know when I go in the first conference that I've been hearing as Agenda 2063 in Africa. Everyone says that Agenda 20. What is it? And I try to get back to home, and then I read a lot of things, and then I had an responsibilities because the leaders they give you a decision. I mean, they just a decision. So who will be implemented as a youth? We have to have a passion, but we should have an action on commitment. So a passion without commitment, it doesn't give a sense. So let's ask those passions and commitment, and so that we can be a global citizen as well as who you are. So that was my advice. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. And I saw raising the hand on this side of the floor. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Giovanna. I'm here as part of the Brazilian youth delegation, and I come from Brazil, from Rio, and I would just like to point out something maybe related to what you mentioned. I think we have a big challenge of being heard by national policymakers. I think the fact that we are here at IGF discussing and meeting each other and so on, this is already a progress, but of course it's still a big challenge. But there are many factors involved, including luck, including who is the policymaker you're going to be talked to, and so on. But most importantly than all that, I think we cannot treat the lack of financial resources and of funding in a naive way, and we need to speak what is necessary for like we to be here, right? We need funding, and it's not only about motivation, because it's easy to say that we only need motivation when we have time, we have food, we have family and a nice place to go to sleep, but that's not the majority of the youth. And maybe this is why we cannot see many engaged youth. You know, we need to talk about the problems as they are, and of course this is a complex issue, but it worries me that when we start talking more about motivation and about commitment and less about what the real means, the financial means and of resources that requires for us all to be here. Right? We are in Ethiopia. It was not easy for us to come here. Many of us are needing to watch us online. So I just wanted to point out, and then maybe completing what Male said, I say like passion, commitment, engagement, but also resources. We need to keep pushing the authorities and local, regional, and global bodies to keep funding youth initiatives and also civil society organizations that could enable youth people to participate in internet governance. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. I see that two our speakers has their hands up, so maybe we'll take one more comment or question, and then I will pass the floor to our speakers.
Okay, thank you. My name is Oshuke, and I'm from the Nigeria IGF. Yeah, so she actually said almost what I want to say. I wanted to speak from the perspective of youth from countries that do not necessarily have it as easy as some other countries do. And then I wanted to say this stage, being a youth, is a very, very sensitive part of life, yeah. And for youth from countries such as mine, where I'm sorry to say, but even the internet is not the first priority for youth from a country such as mine. So when we talk about youth engagement, there are some underlying issues that we have to look at before we can get improved youth engagement. I would say I'm from Nigeria. I don't think I've seen any other youth from my country except those that volunteered to be part of UNECA. And that also comes down to the issue of funding. So what I just wanted to say that while we all know that this is extremely volunteering, is also extremely hard for a youth that cannot really take care of himself to volunteer for something that is not the first priority in his country. And even when he's treated like that with the government, but now it's starting to change with what some organizations in the government are doing, trying to bring in the youth into the IGF, and I will see it's quite evident in the Nigeria IGF. For example, I'm the program manager of the NRI in my country, and I'm a young person. So it's good that they're trying to do this thing. So I'd just like to make some recommendations, and I would just like to us to discuss if it's possible for us as the youth in the IGF to create a pool that the youth can benefit from. When I say a pool, I mean there are so many big tech, so many organizations that actually gain the most from the youth. Can they give back by creating a pool that only the youth can benefit from when it comes to internet governance? And then this pool will also enable more jobs internationally, enable more resources for youth from underserved areas, and also ultimately improve the youth engagement from underserved areas. So thank you very much.
Thank you a lot. And now I will pass the floor to Athena, who has her hand up, our online speaker.
Thank you very much, Amelia. I just wanted to build up on the conversation we're having right now because I think we're raising a lot of important factors, but I think we should also reflect on our way we organize ourselves as youth organizations because I think this is also a big challenge, the way we decide to organize ourselves, the way we decide to operate, and the danger also of replicating structures which are similar to what we've seen around us and which are clearly failing us. So I think it's also like we have a strength as youth as being more, let's say, digitalized in a sense for some of us, and for having access to technologies that will allow us to connect with one another. But how and the way we organize ourselves can we actually avoid to replicate problematic structures, and how can we actually build structures which yes, which serve us on the long term, I think. And even having shared this opinion with other Generation Connect members, I know it's something that it's not clear yet. There's not one way of achieving, youth engagement, and we're all pivoting and trying to find ways to make our voice heard. And as we said, like there are a lot of barriers, but I think sometimes that the way we can organize ourselves can be the main barrier. So I just wanted to share this thought and hope that we could actually share a lot of good practices on how we can go further together. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Athena. And now I'm passing floor to Veronica, who also has her hand up. And this is also a quick reminder that we are heading to the end of the session, so please be brief.
Yes, thank you. Yes, a very quick remark on what Gervana said from Brazil. Her comment was very spot on. It doesn't apply only to a country like Brazil or developing or undeveloped country. In terms of funding, we all have issues. I wasn't able to travel to Ethiopia because of job commitment, but also because I didn't get any travel support. And ironically, I'm not eligible to get travel support because I come from a developed country. So my comment would be, do we also have to consider that even young people that come from developed country have issues with funding? It's not because they come from a richer country they have more opportunities. That's not true at all. And also talking about the possibility to engage in this kind of discussions at policy level, because we are at an UN event, at high level event, but we need to make an impact in our own territory, in our own nations. And for me, ironically, it's much more easy to be involved at this level than at national level, because in Italy, they made this youth council, youth parliament. In Europe, we have the Youth European Parliament, but from as an Italian delegate, they always choose people from higher middle class, middle class, people from not who have studied in private schools and private university. Isn't that fair? Do we have the same chances to actually contribute at policy level? Do we need, do we have to have the same possibility in terms also of funding, but also in terms of chances, the possibility to have access to those programs, to those events? I think the response is yes, and that's something that we need regardless of our geographical provenance, the country we were born and raised in.
Thank you, Veronica. I think these are really good questions which would be also very hard to answer actually. We are heading to the end of our session, so unfortunately we'll have time just for one more comment, and we had our online moderator Jenna with her hand up. So Jenna, please have your brief comment.
Sure. I would just like to highlight that this is really a fruitful discussion from pointing motivations and to all the factors that youth as well as youth organizer or youth leaders are facing in the process of encouraging more youth participation for internet governance discourse. I would just like to add a few comments from the dynamic coalition's main session that I just had prior to this session, and I think it is a very important message that we identify with other dynamic coalitions in terms of the common goals and common purpose that we can do with other stakeholders in the coming years. Two things that we highlight was tangible outputs are very important, and in terms of tangible output, I believe there's lots of things that we still need to work on. Of course, Veronica mentioned about the booklet. This is like the tangible outputs that is leading the youth community to a point where we are kind of catching up to other stakeholder in the community, because to a certain extent we need some kinds of formality in order to get our work recognized. I think we have improved so much comparing to the youth meetings 3 years ago in Berlin. We have more initiative in terms of having more capacity building webinars and other working group that help us to stay more engaged in the IGF community. But continuations and consistent participants also important. Of course, we mentioned about job opportunities or time commitment. These are all the constraints that stop us from actively participating. But I believe with meetings like this today, we'll continue to make progress, because outputs is not necessary to be a solution, but the progress and the process itself can also be part of the output. Just one last thing to highlight, most of us are also members of the current cohort of the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, and I believe it's a really good platform for people like us who really want to stay engaged in encouraging youth participation and engagement in internet governance, as well as working on the goals in achieving the area focus that we stated in IGF Plus, as well as the Global Digital Compact. I highly encourage all of us to stay connected through that platform, because we have that DC here, don't waste it. That's it from me, and thank you so much for all the other speakers as well as all the participants for your contribution. I may now pass the time back to Amelia. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Jenna. And I would like to close this session with saying a big thank you to all the panelists, to our online moderator Jenna, and to the audience for being so active and for bringing so many insights on the table. I think that we definitely could have a longer discussion. There is always not enough time during the sessions of this kind, but I'm really glad that we could all meet here today and have this debate. And I would also like to mention that if any of you is not in our youth group, Youth in Addis Ababa on Telegram, in which we are sharing opportunities, please go to Joao again, and he will tell you how to be added. Thank you. Good work.
Yes, very good.
Nice.
Nice, man, nice.
That's the passion.
That's the passion.
You don't need resources. You have
no,
it.
no.
You find it.
You need resources.
I mean to say yes. That is the reason why
Because it's a way to get more engaged.
So true, so true. It is very difficult for the youth. We do understand.
But the passion is very important.
Passion is very important. That drives you. When I meant motivation, it is money. Like you. There are groups that give you some, awards and stuff. Those are very important. That's why all these organizations